Hey Ricky, how you doing today?
Hey Alex, I'm fine, thank you very much. How are you?
Fine. I think it's wonderful that we catch up right now because I understand you were on the other side of the globe last weekend.
Yeah, I just got back from a trip to Denmark. I had never been to Denmark, and so I was there for the 25th anniversary of the Danish Patchwork Quilting Association, their annual meeting. And it was fun because, first of all, quilters are great everywhere, right?
Yeah, that's the truth.
But I have to tell you, getting there was not so fun.
I
Um,
kind of heard rumors about that.
Oh, my flight out of Colorado Springs was late, so when I got to Minneapolis, Minnesota, I ran like crazy to my next gate, and by the time I got there, the gate was closed, so I missed my flight to Amsterdam, which would have then taken me to Copenhagen, and then I still had to drive from Copenhagen to Odense. And Odense is spelled Odense, so it looks like Odense, but it's pronounced Odense. Odense. So, anyway, the bottom line is that through a lot of juggling the balls and getting me rerouted, I ended up getting a later flight to Heathrow in London, then from there to Amsterdam, and then from there to Copenhagen. And my wonderful hostess, Winnie, who picked me up at like 10:30 at night now, because I was supposed to have been there that morning.
Yikes.
I got in that night and got into the hotel about 1 a.m., and had to teach that next morning at 8 a.m., and I'd already been traveling like 30 some odd hours. So it was crazy getting there, but just like I always say, the travel part may be hell, but
Yeah.
being there is heaven. Loved being with these wonderful quilters in Denmark.
Well, tell us about it.
Well, they have a show, so there's an exhibition of quilts from their guild members and a competition. They had classes that would be common, as we would expect, and some really wonderful Danish quilters that were teaching there. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was a small cluster of quilts that was by a guy named Gunther, I believe. I'll put that in there correctly on this. But he had passed, and he had left some of his quilts to the Danish Patchwork Association, and those quilts were stunning. Everything was hand dyed, and when you see these quilts up close, you see that they're made out of tiny little pieces or squares, but not when you look at them far away. And I mean, they were just wonderful. So it's really nice that he left many of his quilts to them so they could be on display.
Were you familiar with his work before? Because, I mean, guy to guy, you probably know.
I was
Really
not,
interesting.
yeah, and I
Huh.
was really drawn to them.
Okay, you said annual meeting, but what I'm hearing is annual quilt show.
Yes, it is their show and their classes and so forth. It happens once a year. So the members of the Danish Patchwork Association come together for this event. So they meet together, and this happens in different locations throughout Denmark every year. Like the Odense place is in the conference center there. So maybe
Mhm.
every 3 years or so it returns back to this area. But that just keeps people from having to travel so far all the time.
Were you the only like outsider, or were there other people from other countries there teaching?
As far as I know, I was the only outsider this year, so they had me there to speak a few words at their 25th anniversary gala dinner.
Okay, so what surprised you the most? What was the takeaway on this?
What really surprised me, they had the first of all Hans Christian Andersen. His birth house is in Odense, and so
Oh,
so the town council has it's called the Hans Christian Andersen Guard. And by guard, that means like a band or a drum and fife corps. But these same people, when they opened the show, the fifes and the drums were all playing these wonderful, marches and so forth as the people were coming in, and they're all dressed in their red and white uniforms, and it just looked so festive. But then that night for the gala dinner, or the next night for the gala dinner, those same musicians were inside, and they were all playing marimbas and drums, and it was just like really talented people. So of course it's back to music for me sometimes. It was the music that was the biggest
yeah,
surprise,
yeah.
but the quilters were just great, like they are everywhere.
Well, while you were gone, I kind of did my own thing, and I know you have to run right now, but how about if we schedule another phone call a little bit later on today, and I'm going to tell you what I was up to.
Sure, that'll be great.
Okay, thanks, Ricky. I'm glad you're home.